Unbelievable start. Being a former player in this league for 5 years, there's no better season or opportunity than training camp. Especially considering for me, my first 3 years, I didn't even have an opportunity to compete in OTAs. So training camp was really my first time actually being able to compete with my teammates. It's nothing more important than this time of the year now. And we've been building up for it. We've had a great conversations in the meeting room talking about connection, communication. Uh, Once we install our systems, we start talking about less thinking and more reacting. And that's what I'm looking for in my players. How quickly can we react? I tell them all the time, a slow, correct decision is wrong. A slow, correct decision in this game is wrong. So how quickly can we react? How quickly can we match and mirror movements? How quickly can we diagnose the playbook that we're putting in? Obviously, it's new systems going in, new techniques, new fundamentals. And once we're able to completely indulge in that and completely know it in and out, well, then that's when the real football starts. That's when the real high-key senses start to come into play. And that's when we can really start to take things to another level. And, for me, I'm getting goosebumps and butterflies in my stomach just thinking about the first day of pads and what that looks like, because obviously there's a lot of guys, superstars, all-stars, who look good in shorts and helmets and T-shirts. But obviously we don't play football like that. And so, some guys are going to start to shine and start to look a little bit more better than they did in shorts and T-shirts. And, quite frankly, I was one of those guys when I was playing who might not have looked the best when, we were in shorts and helmets. But once the pads came on, that's when I really started to shine. And so I'm looking forward to seeing these players put these pads on. Let's get ready to start playing some good football. It's going to be exciting. I'm looking forward to it.
What do you draw from as your experience as an NFL player when you're shaping your coaching style out here now?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is when we start talking about, this time of year, you look at a lot of undrafted guys or guys that are going to not possibly have minimal reps in practice, and I've had conversation with them about it. And the thing is that you have to find a way to obviously take advantage of the minimal reps that you do get in practice, but you really have to maximize the amount of time and the exposure that you have to the coaches. And you see, the thing is that I just had a conversation with my players about it. So let's say I'm an undrafted guy and I'm working with a guy that, might be on the team already, and he's giving me a half look or a half effort. Well, if that guy, your player or your teammate, is giving you a half look when you're up for your rep, you should be jumping on his case, because Coach Hack can't evaluate me based off of the half rep that you're giving me. And so we always talk about thanking your teammate for making you better. And so I just always try to emphasize, as a teammate, how are you making your teammate better? Are you completely going all out for them? Are you giving 110% effort day in and day out? Because obviously out on the practice field, there's only but so many reps going around. And, not to look too far forward, but obviously we are preparing players for week 1 against Green Bay. Right? And so you look at the back end rosters, the second team, the third team guys, you might come out of practice with 3 reps, 6 reps. But when the games come around, these preseason games come around, and you talk about how many reps you're going to get, well, that's going to spike up to 40 reps, 60 reps. So what does your conditioning look like? Because obviously the only way that you can make the team, we talk about accountability and availability, right? And so if I get a soft tissue injury due to lack of conditioning, from lack of reps in practice, but I'm not getting that extra conditioning at the end of practice, well, that falls on you. And you got to understand that you might not get as many reps in practice, but when those preseason games roll around, preseason 1, preseason 2, and for sure preseason 3, when you're getting 60, 70 reps plus 20, 30 special teams reps, there's no tapping the helmet. Hey, Coach Hack, I need one. I don't have that for you. And so it's just important that I'm preaching to my guys that make sure that you're well conditioned. Make sure you have a true understanding, whether it's your learning. Everyone learns differently. So, you might be a guy that learns through the reps, but you might not be getting those reps. So how can you maximize and find a way to get it? Maybe you need to go pull a couple of your teammates. Hey, can you help me? I'm looking to work on my flat drops. Can you help me? Can you run a flat? Can you run a slant for me so I can work on that? You got to utilize all the resources that you have around you to find a way to make this team.
How do you find the balance then and Ed was just talking about some of the younger guys, you got to make sure they dial it back first day with pads, right? You don't want them to go out and pop too much, but you still want them to make quick decisions. So how do you ride that balance the first few days with pads on?
Yeah, for sure. Coach Cahill talks about it all the time. There's a certain way that you practice as a pro. And so we kind of laid out guidelines on what that looks like. And, the young guys won't be the first ones to do the reps, right? So they have an opportunity to see how the vets practice. What does it look like when we're talking about you might be in close quarter combat and you got Dalvin Cook coming through the hole, or he might be stumbling, right? We're trying to obviously protect our players, but we want to compete at a high level at the end of the day. And I talk to my players about that all the time during this time, looking for competition addicts. Right? That's what we want. That's what we're looking for. Guys that just want to compete at a high level, because at the end of the day, that's how we all get better. That's how we all get better. And so as a younger guy, you can look to these vets. Coach Cahill has laid out a great plan on how we should practice. And, obviously these ramp-up periods has helped kind of lay out what that looks like.
How far into camp do you get kind of a sense for how the kick returning and punt returning battles, and kind of how do you evaluate when obviously they're not taking tackles and things like that?
For sure. I think the biggest thing is looking at the preseason. There might be guys who might not get those reps in the game, but practice gives you an opportunity. At the end of the day, I'm looking at ball tracking skills and your ability to catch it. Right? What does your ball catching look like? How comfortable are you back there? And we try to create certain scenarios and situations, especially as a punt returner, just in terms of getting guys in their face, having them feel traffic around their feet. How quickly are they able to make decisions? And, some things that you can't control in a practice environment is their decision making, right? The decision making, especially from a punt return standpoint, is vital. I can't emphasize enough what that looks like. And so it will be some aspects within that game that you can't control, and you need to see it in the game.
Why is it so hard? Punt return. It seems like there's very few guys who are really good.
Yeah, the reason why is because the amount of time that you have to key and diagnose what's actually going on makes it so difficult. I mean, you have bodies flying around you. You have a spiral ball that's hanging 50, 60 yards in the air. And so the amount of time, the ability to track it, the ability to catch it, the ability to get your feet square and quickly be able to make someone miss in that same instance, right? You got a gunner shooting at your feet. How quickly can I sidestep and get vertical with the football? And so it's just a lot of variables that go into actually doing it that makes it really difficult.
Roster now, what's your confidence level in him?
I have the utmost, highest confidence. I put it on record right now and say that I firmly believe that Greg Joseph will have his best year in his career this year. I'll put it out there right now. I'm sure of it. The way he finished up his summer, the way he prepared, and how he has come back and hit the football has been the best that I've seen him. I've only been around for, 4 or 5 months. But he's been 90. I think he's missed 2 kicks out of 35 kicks that he had in 3 sessions that we've had, hitting at about 92, 93%. But you could just tell the process and the approach that he is taking on each individual kick. You can just tell he's really dialed in, and I'm excited for Greg. And I'm thrilled to have him as my kicker. It's going to be a heck of a year for him.
What do you make of his personality? It seems like he's a very even-keeled kind of guy.
Yeah, Greg is a very even keel, and that's something that we like to talk about a lot. My assistant, Coach Kawilka, has done a hell of a job working with Greg on certain mechanics that he might see being cleaned up, considering he's been around great kickers. He had Young Waku back in Atlanta. He had Dustin Hopkins when he was in Washington. And so, I kind of lean on him when it comes to the mechanics of the kicking and all that kind of stuff. And he's done an unbelievable job with Greg. And, I tell Greg all the time, just from a mindset standpoint, we have to find a way to stay neutral, right? So a lot of the greats, you look at Derek Jeter, Kobe Bryant, the LeBron James, they always talk about the mindset of staying neutral, right? Never getting too high, never getting too low, just kind of keeping that even keel. And that's kind of where Greg is at, and I love it. I love it, honestly. And if that's where he's at, that's where you want to be at, when you talk about that kicker position being, the man in the arena.
Was Kane Newman out there today? I don't think I saw him out there.
Kane was out there. Yes, Kane was out there. Yeah, Kane was out there. Kane is he's doing well. smile ear to ear just hearing Kane Newman. What an unbelievable opportunity he has this year. I'm really excited for him. I think the biggest thing for him is just making sure he's found a routine and a process to keep him healthy. Obviously he's had X, Y, and Z in the past, and we're really just focused on keeping him healthy for the entire year. And there's our strength and conditioning and medical staff has done a great job of putting a process in place for him to put him right where he needs to be at to keep him healthy for the entire year.
Hey, Coach, give us an
What's
update
going
on the punting battle.
Oh, the punting battle. Yes. Everybody loves a punting battle. No, it's going really well. I think both guys are doing a great job right now. And you can kind of see it heating up a little bit. Honestly, guys are really getting into it. We try to at least kick 3 out of the 4 days that we do go. We want to really get as many opportunities as we can to evaluate these guys. We're charting every single punt. So at the end of this thing, a guy we decide to keep versus guy we decide to obviously cut, we have the statistics to show, the why behind we're doing what we're doing. And so it's going really well. It's a tight race. Jordan Berry's hitting it really well. I think for both punters, we're just looking for that consistency. I had a great talk with Quasi, just talking on the standard of what we're looking for in our 2022 punter. And, it's hitting at a good percentage rate of 60%. So what do you consider to be a good punt? Well, you have your hang, your distance, and your direction all has to align. So let's say you hit a 45-yard punt. You want it to have matched with a 4.5 hang time, second hang time. And obviously the distance, you love for it to be outside the numbers. And so that's kind of the metrics that we lay out for those guys. So we're able to say, hey, this was an A punt, a B punt, a C, or an F. And they have the exact reason on why that actually lays out. So we have the measures all out in place. So if we can find a guy throughout this camp who's hitting at a 60% good percentage rate, that'll be our punter for the 2020 season. Appreciate y'all.